people, when I first started self-publishing and working through the process myself, I decided, I first of all, I loved it. I loved the bonding that was happening with my own grandkids. And so I started to hang out in a lot of the children's book groups, Facebook groups and others. And before long, I had people asking questions that I was starting to answer and come together. And I found that there's so many of them that were being taken advantage of by predatory publishers. And they were doing, the stories just shocked me. And it's why I started sharing my knowledge with author work groups, and also on Facebook and on YouTube. And it kind of brought me out of my shell because I'm actually an introvert. I'm not usually doing a lot of meetings and things like this. So today, so let me introduce myself. My name is April Cox. And if you are here today and you found me on YouTube, or you're watching this replay, or for those here live, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about self-publishing. So if you are someone who has written a manuscript and you're kind of looking around, Googling things, how to self-publish, and you're hearing nightmare stories, and you're wondering, who can I trust? How do I do this? What do I need to watch out for? Then you are in the right place, because that's all the kind of stuff that we're going to cover today. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to walk through some slides here, and I will just ask you, you can feel free to post questions in, let me see, in the chat, and I will pause and try to go ahead and grab questions along the way so we don't go too far. So let me start at the beginning. All right. So the agenda for today, we're going to do an introduction to self-publishing, self-publishing versus traditional. We're going to compare and contrast the two, why I self-publish and why you should too. We're going to talk about the people that help you to self-publish. What roles do they play, and where can you find them? And then a little bit about the steps to self-publishing. And at the end, I'm also going to be here to answer some questions, but I also want to inform you about an opportunity coming up with my author work group, and it is open for early bird registration. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And if you are interested in finding more about that, you can hang out with me, and you'll have the ability to also set up some one-on-one time with me so that I can get to know your own unique situation and help put that personal path to self-publishing together for you. Okay, so let's move on. In the comments, if you're just joining us, tell me why you published your book. Why did you write it? What are you hoping to accomplish with it? So Sharon says, I've written my manuscript as a tribute to my dad and to leave a legacy to my kids. Beautiful. My journey started with a legacy project. Sally is a retired English teacher and feels like she still has a lot to give. Wonderful, Sally. I love it. We have a book designer who doesn't really have a why, but is curious to know for her clients and to help her clients. I love the idea of service and being here to serve others and learn for yourself, because that's win-win for everybody. So these are my why right here, my 4 grandbabies, and I have one more coming in 2 more weeks. So we're gonna add number 5 to the mix. These are my little Labradoodle books. I was a corporate senior manager and director at corporate America, and got tired after 35 years of doing things, and so many turnovers, so many restructures, and all kinds of crazy 80-hour work weeks. I decided if I'm going to work 80 hours, I'm going to do it for myself. And I needed a passion project, and I needed a way to do that. So as luck would have it, Providence, divine intervention, I ended up separating from my job. They ended up doing a restructure, and I ended up out with a 1-year salary, which I was like, woohoo, I could do some cartwheels in the hallway. Other people had sad faces and mine was not one of them. So it was amazing. I got an opportunity to start working on these passion projects of mine and completely fell in love with not only publishing, but the author community and seeing what was going on with the author community. That is why I started helping others. Somebody says, I don't think you looked old enough to have grandkids. Oh, I wish that was true, but I'm just going to keep my age to myself. I'll say I started having kids at age 7. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that's why I have so many grandbabies. So here's why I self-publish. No rejection letters. I didn't even think about going to traditional publishing, but there's a lot of people out there who are trying to get published, have been trying for years. I had one author recently I met with that had been trying to break into traditional publishing for 15 years without any luck. And when she actually started publishing and doing things herself, her books that they rejected have been doing amazingly well. They've been very well accepted. So what does the traditional publishers, what do they really know? What do they really want? What they really want is those celebrities with a huge following. They don't need to work with people who like us that don't have a platform, right? So the heck with the rejection letters and the barriers to publishing is what I say. Keep control over your project. That's another thing that I really love. If I want my main characters to be dog and my grandchildren, then I can illustrate my grandchildren into it. In a traditional environment, your story, if it gets picked up, could end up being a family of ducks or geese or pigs, whatever. You just don't have any control over that. So I really love the control that self-publishing brings to you. You also can keep 100% of the royalties. With traditional publishing, you'll get an advance, and it's usually a small one, a couple hundred, 500. I had one person that got $1,100, and then they hold on to all of the revenue, the royalties, until you meet that amount back. That's why they're calling it an advance. And you get like 10 to 20% of the royalties, and they keep the rest. So this is not the case with us. We're keeping 100% of the royalties. It's much quicker to market, and I'll show you some stories about other authors that I've worked with. And the indie author community is amazing. They are some of the loveliest people, hardworking. They love to support one another and cross promote. It's just a wealth of information and knowledge and amazing friendships that I've developed over the years that, 6 years in, I'm still have amazing connections and friendships because the indie author community is that fantastic. And that's another great reason to do it. And financial freedom is another one for me. I wanted to leave that day job, and it took me, I got that boost as I got the boot out the door and the cartwheel in the driveway. But financial freedom of having your own business and being able to build your own business, make the decisions of what you're going to budget, what you're going to spend, and how you're going to grow your business is quite freeing. And it might also be scary for some. For me, it was exciting. My heart beats really quick when I start thinking about all the promise and the potential. So I'm just going to breeze through a little bit of the self-publishing versus traditional publishing. Let me just pull these down. And self-publishing, you don't have an agent or you don't have to do any querying. Traditional publishing, you do. And those barriers are the no, not good enough, change this, change that. Great story, but no thank you. Those, people collecting a shoebox full of rejection letters, that's just, it can be very deflating. With self-publishing, you need to pay for things like your editing and your illustrations. with traditional publishing, the publisher pays, but they're paying and that's why they have control, because they're paying for those things up front, and they're keeping the vast majority of your royalties after the fact. So I have decided that I would rather budget for a project up front and work through self-publishing than to go through this on the traditional side of publishing. So as we said, you're in control on the self-publishing side. Traditional, not so much. You build your own team here. And with the traditional publishers, they have their own team. Many times it's low quality team. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that I've worked with that I've had to help unravel really terrible illustrations, poor editing, design that looks like a high schooler did it. And these are people passing themselves off as traditional publishers or as hybrid publishers. And what they really are is predatory publishers. So there can be, there are some dangers, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Marketing from a self-publishing side, you do need to exercise some marketing muscles. You're going to learn to talk to people. You're going to learn to talk about your book. You're going to get excited, and you're going to share your passion with people. And if you're doing it to honor a loved one and you don't really want to sell it to the world, then that's fine. You're going to invest in a project that's going to be a legacy for your family now and beyond. So, understanding your goals and your why is an important part of determining the exact right publishing path for you. With self-publishing, you keep the royalties. With traditional publishing, as we went over, they give you an advance, but then they're keeping the royalties. And I've actually seen probably 3 or 4 recent people that got traditional deals with no advance, 0 advance, because they didn't have a big enough platform. And the traditional publisher said, we'll publish you, but we're not going to give you an advance. You're going to have to work hard to get the sales, and you'll get, 20% of the royalties. So again, self-publishing, traditional publishing. I'm going to pause here for a moment. Does anybody have any questions about what I've covered so far? Okay. You can feel free to take yourself off of mute, or just post questions as we go. Okay, so without hearing anything, I'm sorry, I just clicked and there was one more item that we didn't cover. Self-publishing is much quicker to market. I'll show you some of the amazing stories that my authors have gone through. And with traditional publishing, I was in a webinar maybe 6-7 months ago, and they threw around a 10-year timeline. They said it takes about 10 years on average to break into traditional publishing. That's querying. That's a lot of rejection letters. It's a lot of persistence and, lots and lots of spinning of wheels. With self-publishing, I've had some authors that released 5 books or more in a year. And that's, think about the speed to market and what you can do when you have that kind of an agile environment. Okay, so next, we're going to talk about self-publishing mistakes, because one of my key purposes in this presentation is that you leave here knowing what to watch out for and knowing the kind of mistakes that you need to avoid, that pitfalls that can really suck you into that quicksand and cause all kinds of lost time and extra money spent out the window, sometimes never to be seen again. Right now, I'm just unraveling with one of my authors. She spent maybe it's $18,000 with a predatory publisher. So far, we've got $8,000 back. We're still putting disputes in, trying to get the rest of the money back. It's really heartbreaking. And she's agreed to do a presentation with me just so that other people can hear and see what kinds of things to look out for. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. So number one, don't skip a professional edit. It is not enough for you to take your manuscript and give it to a professor, your sister, so-and-so who's really good in English. You need to have a professional editor who does this for a living and who is very experienced in your genre. That is imperative, because in my program and what I'm recommending that you do is produce the highest quality book, one that can sit beside any book at Barnes and Noble and compete. I'm not the kind of a coach that is going to say, hey, you can write something in a couple of hour workshop, you can throw it into PowerPoint and we can publish it on Amazon. That's not me. There are plenty of coaches out there that will do that. What I am doing is creating high quality, best-selling books. The last 8 that launched in the past, which is about 2 weeks worth, every single one hit bestseller. And it's no wonder, because we have worked on a process where this happens. We do very high quality work. We have professional designers, professional editors. All of these people working together create high quality products that will resonate in the market and will sell. Okay, so that's the goal. So don't skip a professional edit. And one thing that I will say is that there are a number of different types of editors. And I'll go over that. We're going to talk a little bit more about editing. So just hiring an editor is not enough. It has to be the right kind of editor. Okay, so we'll put a pin in that and we're going to hit that in a moment. Marketing as an afterthought. Whether you are writing your book now or you've just finished your manuscript, marketing doesn't happen after and you're ready to click publish. It happens all the way through. Beginning, when you first start writing the book, you start telling people, you start letting them follow your journey and take them along with you. Because if you wait until you're ready to click publish, and I do this a lot with my authors, I'll be like, so is everybody ready? Do you have, are your followers, your family, your friends, are they expecting this? And I will hear an author way too often say, well, it's going to be a surprise to everybody. Don't make it a surprise. It should be something that you are marketing and building hype and excited about and sharing your passion through every single step of your journey. Okay, so don't make it an afterthought. Number 3 was kind of what we touched on earlier. Don't compromise on quality. You can, if your goal is just to get something out there and it's going to be for your family, or it's going to be just a test to see if you can actually self-publish, and you're not really worried about quality because it's not about sales, it's just about learning, I could say that would be okay. But if you are looking to build a business as an author or produce a book that you're going to be proud to leave behind as a legacy, then do not compromise on quality. Okay? Predatory publishers. Gosh, I could stand on a soapbox and talk about this for days. I have had so many people hurt authors. And the one that I was just talking to you about, where we're kind of trying to unravel for this woman who spent way too much money on this. I said I actually attended a meeting with that publisher and her, and I said, wait a minute, it's $400 to print 5 books. How can you, and it actually, no, it was $400 per book times 5. So I said, how can you charge that? And he said, I can charge, an ebook for $4. If I want to sell it for $2,000, I can. And if you want to buy it for that, that's commerce. That's living. That's just, I can do that. It's predatory. And these people were so nasty and were so smug about what they were doing to this woman. I was just blown away. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to get the rest of the money, but we're about halfway there now. So predatory publishers, gosh, we're going to go into more, and I can go into more about what to look for. But you're not going to have publishers calling you on the phone, offering you a publishing contract. If you get phone calls, it is very likely a predatory publisher that found you because you were in a Facebook group, or you were in, you submitted a copyright for your book, for your manuscript, and that's a public database that they mine for. Also, we went through, there's lots of other things that we can talk about as far as signs of predatory publishing. If you want, the easiest way to find out is to go to the Alliance of Independent Authors. There's a watchdog group there, and they have listings of, predatory publishers. They have listings of people that you can trust. And my little Labradoodle publishing company is a proud partner of the Alliance of Independent Authors. There's also SCBWI, which is the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. There is the IBPA, which is the book publishers, the Independent Book Publishers Association. So these kinds of groups do help you navigate through it. Also, just by reaching out to other authors and saying, hey, I got a phone call from XYZ publisher. What do you think? Has anybody used them? Does anybody have any cautionary tales? Are they legit? Because especially when you've got these large self-publishing communities, there are a lot of people that will say, wait a minute, that is definitely red flags. I've seen them before. The other thing is, if you get an email or phone call from somebody claiming to be from Amazon, KDP, and it's like, KDP publishers. I have had 3 different situations, 3 different vendors, all masquerading as part of Amazon, and they are not part of Amazon. So be very wary of that. Same thing with other it's not just publishers. Sometimes it's people that want to sell you promotional services. They want to sell you PR services, and they'll talk a big game, but when you're really looking for references, or you ask other authors, they're going to tell you, stay away from these guys. Okay, so do your due diligence before you work with anybody, including me. If you want to come together and talk about, ask people, what is it like to work with April? Is she legit? Does she, any predatory practices going on here? Do your research. Okay. And then the 5th and final one we're going to talk about is going it alone. A lot of people will try to save money and do everything themselves. They Google, they go through YouTube videos, and they learn a ton. But one of the problems with that is that there is so much conflicting information out there. Different experts can't even agree with the right way to go about doing things. So it can be very confusing. There can be a lot of pitfalls that you don't even realize. I have some people that come to me when they're ready to publish, and they're like, hey, I've navigated through everything, but I don't know enough to upload to Amazon. And I'll look at stuff and I'll be like, did you go through an editor? No. Okay. So, and then I'll look at the illustrations. Maybe some of them are really nice, but they're not professionally laid out. The font they chose is not great. They don't have their identifiers, their ISBNs, a Library of Congress number. Like, there's so much stuff for a professionally published book that needs to be done, that you do need somebody to help marshal you through that process, shepherding somebody through it. I had somebody call me a Sherpa. The Sherpas are the ones that help you climb the Himalayas, right? So it's important, or a mentor, somebody who's been there ahead of you and that you know has done these things. And yes, it is a huge learning curve for some. So getting the hand holding, getting into something where you'll be walked through the process is really helpful. Let me just look at some of these comments we've got here. How do you define the difference between predatory publishing and hybrid publishing? So sometimes a hybrid press that comes out and says, oh, we're a hybrid publisher, we serve authors, and sometimes they're really good. I'll give you an example. Alexa Bigwarf, who is leads the Women in Publishing Summit, which is going to be coming up in the next week or so. I'll be speaking at the summit. She's amazing. She is a fantastic expert in her field, and she has a couple of different hybrid publishing houses that she has created with her partner, and I think one for her. Biggie Press is the name of it. So she's a hybrid press. She does help you publish your book. She and I could tell you right now, if you're looking for that, she's a great option. Go see Alexa. There are others as well who are very reputable, who have a great reputation, and they're not taking advantage of authors. There are some who will pass themselves off as a hybrid publisher, charge a lot of money, big packages of, you can just pay $25,000. We'll put you through and do this and do that. And they've got all these different services that you're going to get when you sign up with them. But just do your due diligence, because if they've been a predatory company, they're going to be, you're going to find out pretty quickly with authors. If you ask them, whose account does the book go into? My recommendation is it goes into your KDP account. You don't, especially with these these publishers that pop up to serve, take a bunch of money and then disappear. If your book is uploaded to their account, every sale, they're getting your royalties, and they're not sending them to you. They're not returning phone calls. There's all kinds of nightmare stories that I could share with you. So that is not something that we want to take part in. You want your book to be loaded in your own KDP account, and they should help you. They should help walk you through it, or do it with you or for you, but they shouldn't take ownership of your book in their account. And if you see a package that says, and we give you ISBNs, you don't have to pay for them, that's not good. You need to own your own ISBNs, because that owner of the ISBN is the publisher of the book and have the publishing rights of the book. One other predatory student that's going through the same thing, the individual, I couldn't even believe this, she signed a contract that said, even if she cancels, and this, I'm still working with this person, if she cancels, they still have the right to sell her book in perpetuity, forever, and she can't do anything about it. So we're canceling the contract, pulling everything out. She can't get them to take it off because it's in the contract that they can keep selling it. But what we can do is recreate our own version. It's her rights, her book. We can update the version, and we're going to do something that's going to unravel what she's got there. She's stuck with a little bit of a mess, but we're going to work through and getting it worked out. Okay. So yeah, lots of self-publishing mistakes to avoid. If you don't do anything else, spend some time on my YouTube channel. It's called Self-Publishing Made Simple with April Cox. And I talk a lot about predatory publishing and about what to look for, how to find the right people. And you'll get a lot of free information there. So now I'm just going to take you through the steps of how to self-publish, or what things do you do as part of self-publishing. So you are probably at this step here where you have written a manuscript, you've got multiple drafts, you did some self-editing, and you're finding an editor and you're submitting to your editor. The editing process goes from there, like I told you, there were multiple different types of editing. A developmental, or some people call it a comprehensive edit, will go through your manuscript for, how the characters developed, how's the writing, how's the flow of the story, does it have a good story arc? Like, those are compositional things, structural things that are the foundation of a good story. And if you don't have those in place, regardless of whether you've got a line and copy editor that says your paragraphs and your sentence structure and your punctuation and spelling is perfect, if you go directly to that kind of an editor, they're not going to look at all those other things. And so it's not going to be the best that it can be. And it'll actually, sometimes you'll end up with a bunch of bad reviews from people who know what good writing is, and they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, this person didn't know how to write, or there wasn't a good editor involved. You don't want those kinds of reviews, especially if you're working on a debut book. Okay, so don't do that. And so developmental edit, line and copy editing is more the structure of each paragraph, the lines, the punctuation, and all that. At the end, it's, back over here for proofreading. And you're going to do copyright with the Library of Congress as part of the editing here as well. For those who are doing children's books, you're going to have illustrations. You're going to go through different aspects, different steps with the illustrator. If you're not doing a children's book, this step might just be cover design, cover artwork that you're having created to make sure that you're doing a really good, high quality book. The cover means a lot. No matter how many times people say, don't judge a book by its cover, we all do, right? So we need to have a really good face of what people are going to see. And one of the other most important things about that is take a look at it as a thumbnail, because if it's beautiful when it's big, but then when you shrink it down and you see it on Amazon as a thumbnail and it's all cluttered and the title's not big enough to even see, it's not going to get sales. So there's a lot of things, you want to have somebody helping you navigate through this. All right, formatting. So some people tell me, well, my illustrator said they can format for me. Yeah, they can, some of them. Out of 7 years I've been working on this, 2 illustrators out of probably 500 or more books that I've actually published and had a chance to publish myself or on behalf of my authors. And only 2 have ever been at the level where they have the design expertise as well as the illustration expertise. It's not common. It's very different to have a formatter come in and take your words that have been professionally edited, the beautiful pictures that have been put together, or your interior design, and put them together with beautiful typography, typesetting. And then at the end of formatting all this stuff, the output is your files. The files in the perfect format that when you upload them to KDP on, Amazon KDP or Ingram Spark or Lulu, or send them to your printer for an offset print, you're not going to have issues with the formatting. One of my authors, who is actually now a member of my team helping other authors, when she launched her book, she kind of went off and she had found a friend that ended up saying that she could format the book. And unfortunately, the whole process ended up taking her an extra 6 months just going back and forth on files. So that's what can happen if you're not working with a professional who knows how to do their stuff. They might lay things out and have it look really pretty, but when they give you a file and time after time after time, it keeps getting rejected. And at the time we were trying to publish before Christmas, it was a nightmare. So it is now launched. It became a bestseller. So we're working through all of those issues, and lesson learned, try to know you've got to have people that are professionals working through this stuff. Otherwise, it's trial and error, and then you've got to keep trying and failing and spending money and failing and finding a different person on Fiverr and a different person over here. Maybe a friend of a friend knows somebody who thinks that they could do it for you. Those kind of things can just end up with a huge amount of delays and low quality work. So be careful, be very careful. All right, so from formatting, then we get to publishing. We do pre-launch stuff, we upload the book, we do proofing and publishing. And you're probably looking at this and saying, but April, where's the marketing? Over here. It starts here and it goes all the way through. You're doing things like creating a marketing plan, you're creating press kits, you're making sure that you can collect email addresses, you're doing social media stuff. Everybody's journey on the marketing side is going to be a little different. One of my authors loves being in person and selling at events. 80% of what she brings in comes from those events. I have another person that does 100% of her stuff is all on Amazon, driven by Amazon ads. She doesn't touch anything because she is a very busy professional. So you need to have an opportunity to kind of assess, what do you love to do? What do you want to do? What kind of connections do you have? And how can you put together a marketing plan that is going to get you to a best-selling book launch? So that's something that it takes time to learn how to do those things. And so having a mentor, somebody who's been through it, or a checklist will help you get to that bestseller. We want you to be a bestseller, award-winning author that is meeting your goals, understands your audience, understands your goals, and we help you lay out the path to get there. And that's something that I'm very proud to say that is part of my program. If you wouldn't mind if I pause for a moment, Sally, since you're in the program, would you mind just just talking a little bit about it? How has it worked for you? And, what are the things you like about it? Do I still have Sally? Miss Sally, I'm going to get you off mute.
All right, here I am. Okay. It almost seems like I'm a plant today. Like, why am I here?
Yeah, she just showed up.
I did. I just showed up. I don't mind hearing the things a few times till I'm sure I really get it. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And so I love to watch and come to these group meetings. So I came to the early bird, and at the beginning of January, I started with an editor. So the editor was on April's vetted list, Bobby Hinman. And actually, I just turned in my second story to Bobby a couple days ago. So we're working on a second story now, and I'm making my first book part of a series. So Bobby's help has been unbelievable. I'm an English teacher, and I'm amazed at what she does. So when we talk about doing the line editing and the grammar and all of that, yes, I can do that. But with that developmental editing, I'm just amazed with how she can change a story. And then with April's vetted list, I fairly quickly, went to the editor, to the illustrator from the vetted list, who has been wonderful. And I don't know if you saw where we are in that process, April, but that's all going to the vetted list to praise. And so next week, yep, next week, I signed up for the 1 hour free evaluation of the cover, which
Yep.
I'm real excited about. And she right now is in the process of getting all the files. So you figure we're at the end of February, and that is certainly coming along. So
Yeah.
right now, this week, I got all of the colored illustrations, and it's really, really nice. April's input was great because she had some good ideas. When we went through the storyboard, April could just look at it and say, hey, we need Christmas lights here. And that edition of those Christmas lights was so beautiful in that evening scene. So it was really exciting to see it all in color, and it's moving on.
How do you
So
feel about the work group environment? You've got a group of probably 8 or 10 people that you're going through this with. How's that felt for you?
that's been really great because I love obviously listening to what other people are doing because it's very, very helpful. Like someone will say, I did this, and then we say back, and they'll say, well, what do you think about this? And how can you support me? So just today, I voted on a cover, the design that we had talked about yesterday. So I went on her Facebook and said, this is the one I like, just to kind of build up the excitement for her. And one of the women who is in some of the groups published a book, and I went on Goodreads and did a really tiny, tiny review for her. It was kind of fun to go on, look around Goodreads, start my own account. So it's very helpful to see what other people are doing, and they're very supportive. And they'll say, "Well, what do you think about this font?" or "What do you think about this cover?" And that's really fun. I mean, I find it very fun to do.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And we're in week 7 now of the class. So the first half went by rather quickly, and we've got, 12 weeks. But because you signed up for early bird, I think you got an extra couple of weeks worth of training up front. So
Mhm.
you're probably at week 9, but getting ready to lay this stuff out right on schedule. Exactly. And you've never done this before.
No.
So, I mean, that's what this work group is. And I saw that somebody said, when is the next 12-week group? There's no more 12-week groups. So that's the bad news. The good news is I'm completely revamping it so that instead of a group that just lasts 12 weeks and that makes you wait 12 weeks before you can come back in, um, opening up for early bird enrollment, and we're doing evergreen so that people can come in where they are. And I've got a whole slew of live classes, orientation, early birds. We have different things going on for people who are more advanced. So, and it is going to be a year-long program. You have a year of support and hand-holding to be part of this group. And only for people who sign up for this early bird, I'm going to give you the same price as what my group paid for their 12-week course. And you're going to have a year. It is $14.99, and it's only going to be for early birds because I do need to reassess. I've got now 5 or 6 coaches trained that are going to be also serving with me and helping people. And it is going to be incredible. So as part of this pilot, first people to go through it, you're going to get this early bird pricing. But it is only going to be good for the early birds. Once we get into March and things start, once we get into April and the other 12-week group is winding down, I've got to have new people that are coming in at that point. It's going to be probably double the price or 1.5 times the price. because I'm paying for additional coaching and other things that we need to do. So it's exciting. We're doing some fantastic things, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do to help more people and allow them, because one of the things I found with this 12-week group, it's great for people that are like, hey, I want to do things fast. Wonderful. But a lot of them would be getting into like week 10 and they're like, I'm falling behind. My illustrator didn't finish on time, or I got a hiccup over here with the formatting. What happens when you're gone? And so I'll work one-on-one with people to get them over the hump, but that didn't feel good. It didn't feel good that they felt so rushed and that they felt like, oh, now I don't have those, 90-minute sessions twice a week. And what am I going to do now to get all the help I need? And now I have to pay extra for it. So all that's going to be all rolled into one membership that's going to last you a year. And then you can continue to extend it after that if you want to continue.
If I can just add to that. So I'm a little bit obsessive. So that's why I'm a couple weeks even ahead. But then that puts some pressure on some other people who feel, oh, I'm not keeping up. And we just talked, April just talked to us on Tuesday, yesterday, about the new calendar and how that would work. And you could see for at least a few people that they were so relieved to get that extra hand holding for the future. So they were relieved, they were excited, they were kind of rejuvenated, like, oh, okay, I can still do this.
Mm-hmm.
So they were feeling more confident after that announcement.
Right.
So I think that's a big plus.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, then it's just more stuff to see.
I'm going to put the email, the website, it's selfpubmadesimple.com. And if you go to that website, you're going to see the 90-day way. It's still, I haven't updated the website to show this new feature. It will be updated within the next couple of days, but you can go there, you can sign up for the $14.99 and you can get in on a year. And this is, you can go to as many sessions as you want. So it's going to be a full schedule with like daytime, evening, for any of the different time zones. And I'm just so proud of my team and how we've put this supportive environment together. And I've never seen anything like this offered out there for a self-publishing company. We're going to help you set things up in your own account. You're going to get the hand-holding to get your own ISBNs, the identifiers, a checklist that helps you make sure that you're not going to miss anything. You're going to have a workbook that every single module and an online course. So you go through module 1, I'm working with my editor, and all of the checklist of what you need, videos, materials, all in an online course. Plus you have the live sessions. Plus I have a self-publishing vault filled with tools and templates. So social media templates, press kit templates, a contract that I paid an attorney, it's an author illustrator contract. I paid an attorney $12,000 between that and a couple of other contracts he did for me, and I made it available. The template is there for all of my students. I also have the pre-vetted list that Sally was talking about. It's got editors, it's got illustrators, it's got designers, video editors, website developers, and I stand behind every single one that's on that list. If you have a problem with them, they have a problem with me. So I will get on the phone, or I'll pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, we have to resolve this. This is a limited time that they're in this group with me. We need to work through it. Not only do I have a list of people you can trust that are not predatory, but I have also negotiated the lowest prices that you're going to find for all of these services. So basically I tell them, I'm going to give you a bunch of business, but my people are going to get special pricing, special services. They're going to get the VIP treatment. And that works well. And if it doesn't, they come off my list. So you have a great opportunity. And I'm just so proud of what my team has accomplished. And all of the last 8 books, bestsellers, we've got this down. And that people like Sally that are going through this and sticking to that 12-week schedule. And now, if she wanted to say at the end here, hey, I'm going to give myself an extra 2 months because I'm not, Sally, you're not going to be battling against doing something before Christmas. You can give yourself some extra time. You can do some more marketing, get yourself some more interviews and some media attention, right? There's lots of stuff you can do to just extend that timeline. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing with the newbies that come in as the for these early birds is that I'm going to be working with you to develop your own personal path. What is that based on? It's based on your goals. It's based on your availability. The surgeon that I work with that has no time whatsoever in her schedule to do her own publishing meets with me once a week and we do mentoring, and that's her path through publishing. But I do a lot of the work for her, and that's a different thing. But people that are very much into self-study and they want to really focus on, and they learn by reading, you've got the workbook, and then I can plug you in based on my knowledge of my people and my coaches. I can plug you into the right person, the right slot. And then any extra things you want to do from there are just gravy. And you get everything, all of the hand holding. Not only are there topical things, but just a lot of places, it's just open office hours, drop in, ask anything, any question that you have. You don't have to wait for the next week. And those, like I said, my goal is to help as many authors as possible not to be taken advantage of, to create the most beautiful books and in a quality that we can all be proud of, so that when they say April helped me, I want people to look at it and go, they don't, you don't want them to go, ooh, really? That doesn't look very professional, right? It's got to be the top of the line quality. And that's why I do align with the best designers and the best illustrators. And a lot of them come off. If they don't work out, they come off. So I know we've got about 6 minutes left before I have to shut down and hop on another meeting. So do we have any questions? Anybody have anything that you want to talk through? I was going to go through like some stories about my people, but I think, kind of peppered through that. I'll be back at 8 o'clock today, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you are, interested and you want more information or you have more questions, you can come back to the 8 o'clock hour. That's usually my open Q&A on Wednesdays. So I'm going to just be here. I'll probably go through some of this stuff and also answer questions as well on other topics besides just what's coming up with the course. Go ahead. You have a hand up. Go ahead. You just got to take yourself off mute. Is it Tamian? Let me see if I can help get you
I'm
up.
sorry. I was just saying I have to go.
Oh, okay. See you later.
Bye.
All right. Take care. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? Hi, Sophia. Go ahead.
Hi, April. This is so wonderful to meet you. Thank you. I just want to thank you so much for getting this started, and I'm really excited to get to know you better.
Good. Awesome. Well, I'm very happy to have you here. All right. Where are you in your publishing journey so far?
I believe Edna connected us. And so I haven't really started, but I have this idea that I want to work on, and I want to do a little bit more research on it first. So I don't have a manuscript yet, but I think I'm just getting my feet wet and just kind of doing my research, as you said, and just figuring out this process and knowing what I'm getting into and thinking about all the marketing pre-planning things.
Yeah. Well, I have a wonderful recommendation for you. I just there's a another let me try to think of the name of it. It's gosh, see, when you say I'm not old enough to have grandkids, well, this is what happens when you are really old enough to have grandkids. It's like, oops. There's a how to write and edit, and it's like $29, and it focuses around helping you write your story. And the people there are fantastic. If you send me an email, I will remember what the name is that I want to give you, and I promise I will respond to that email.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, it is. Oh, Flourish Writers. Flourish, Flourish. So look for Flourish Writers, and they have a special going on, and they're just getting ready to kick off. And it's a perfect spot for somebody who's really needs help with putting their manuscript together, and very affordable too. You'll love them.
That'd be awesome. I'll take a look. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sharon, go ahead.
Okay, let me unmute. Yes, so again, thank you so much for this, for bringing us together and for all the information. I'm really excited. Just
Good.
one quick question concerning the program. I guess it will no longer be the 12-week.
Right.
So what I'd like to know is okay, so when you work through, say, for the year, are you expecting, like each person to do just one book?
No,
Or
do as much as you want. Like Sally's working on number 2. She's trying to like beat all the records here. So yeah, I've had many authors that work on multiple books. As a matter of fact, I encourage it, because when you release a series of books, you're going to be very much more successful than if you just release one and then you put that out. Now you've got a single book. Nobody knows you, right?
Right.
You're building a platform, but it takes time. So it's good to get book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5 out there. And,
That's great.
as far as I'm concerned, you got us for a year, and we will support you in whatever capacity that you need during that time. If you want to come and hang with me every single day, then you're welcome to do that. I love your smile. It would be a happy thing to see it on
You're
multiple
so kind.
sessions per day. So yes,
You're so
so not a
kind.
problem at all.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Teresa, did you have any questions for me? No, you're good. All right. Well, I am so happy that you joined me. So happy that that you are starting on this journey. It is thrilling. It is scary, but you have support, and we are here to help you. And I so look forward to being part of that journey. Whether you join my work group or that program, or you just dial in and follow me on YouTube. You're going to learn a lot anyway. Okay, so learn, just keep absorbing, and you have got this. You are going to be published in 2024 if you want to. Okay, so take care. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Bye-bye.